welcome. And for next time, we'll try another thing. But for now, we stick to this. So who is here? Aga is here on the phone.
Your line is
and
now
she'll not
unmuted.
be able to hear the others, but only me. Sorry for this. And Judith and Maria. Judith and
Yes,
Maria
I am.
and Darek
Yeah.
are also here. So thank you very much for making this effort and also for, giving this 20 minutes to trying to figure out how we could manage this technically. And also for making time in your busy lives to connect here for this. This way it's going to be shorter, but at least 1.5 hours now. And this is what I'm now going to share with you. It's a course by the Hand in Hand organization, which is an American organization in California, established more than 25 years ago by a woman called Patty Wipfler. And this woman was a mother of 2 sons and also practitioner of re-evaluation co-counseling. It's a method for mutual self-support of like people who kind of give almost therapeutic support for each other. And she practiced this with adults, and she was figuring out how to adapt it to children, how children can be supported through listening. And she also worked with children in many other settings, in creche, kindergarten, childcare settings. So she gained really thousands of hours of experience. And based on her experiences, she established what is now known as the parenting by connection approach. And it is a set of very, very practical tools. It's not, it doesn't really start theory, but it's really very practical that parents and also caregivers can use in their daily lives. And the ultimate aim, to kind of formulate it very simply, is to make life with children less struggle and more fun. So that is it. And Hand in Hand is providing enormous support for parents by now all over the world. They have instructors all over the world. I am now one in Hungary, and there is going to be another one very soon in Hungary in a few months. And also in Australia, many European countries, there are now instructors, and they have a course called the Building Emotional Understanding course. That was for a long time almost their only course, their main course, along with the class called Tantrum Training. But by now they also developed video classes about. One is entitled No More Hitting, another one is Taming Sibling Rivalry, then Helping Children with Sleep, and there is this class as well, the Secrets and Building Cooperation course. And if you go on their website, it's www.handinhandparenting.org. You'll find many free resources as well. There are these online video classes that you have to pay for, but there are more than 100 articles that are really great, and many video segments of these classes that you can listen to. And also on YouTube, if you put Hand in Hand Parenting, you will find many things, and this woman Patty talking herself and all those things. So this is a bit of a background to what is going to or where all this comes from, what I'm going to share with you now. And the way I found it, that I have 3 children, and I was a single mother with my first one, my son Aaron, and nothing well, really nothing. I was trying to, because that felt most right to me, I was trying to do the, what is called, hi Darek, can now even see you. Hello. Uh, yeah, it's great. Yeah. I don't switch on. Yeah, I don't switch on my camera because then the audio is very bad. So, but at the very end, I'll wave you too. But you can stay on, Darek. It's great. Yeah. Anyway, so I was trying to do the attachment parenting because that felt most right to me. And I was breastfeeding on demand. I was carrying my son all the time. I was co-sleeping with him. And despite all my efforts, like 24-hour efforts and hard work, it really didn't go well. Like somehow, you know, he was always agitated. He didn't look me in the eye. There were these things in the books that breastfeeding is so good because you gaze with each other, or you gaze into each other's eyes with your baby. Now this never happened, and there was just not this connection between us. And no matter how hard I tried, it didn't seem to come to us. And I was very nervous and tense all the time because I did feel that something was not okay. And at this point, I found the parenting by connection approach. And there was a bit of information that really made sense to me and that was missing from all the things that I came across about child rearing so far. And I'll share this bit of information with you today as a first thing. And then also I had practical tools that I could implement. Like, you know, even though I was nervous, even though I was tense, there were these step-by-step tools that I could do with my son, and slowly things started to change. And so by now I can say that we have a very warm connection, and you know, it's never as good as I want it to be because there are all the other children, and it always feels like, oh, there is never enough time for one of them. But I feel quite content. So, and I feel that these ideas, the parenting by connection approach, and also the simplicity and the practicality of the tools that they offer, they are revolutionary. And this is why I'm doing this work, to share it as an instructor. And now let's do a round. And sorry, Aga, you will be left out of this because I don't know how to include you in this. But now let's do a round about you and how you are right now and what you would be like, what you would like to learn from this course. Okay. So, sorry. Who? I'll. Hi, Dorota. Oh, okay. I didn't know you were here with us. Okay. Baby. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay. And thank you for joining, and then I'll get back to you later. Okay. Thank you, Dorota. It's okay. Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, but now let's start. I'll call your names. Sorry for this like teacher-like method, but yeah, Maria. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. So, hello.
For me, For me, it's really important to learn new ways of coping with difficult situations with my son when I'm nervous and I don't know what to do with this situation. I want to learn also a new way of talking about the hardships of parents, of parenting. Hello, can you hear
Hello,
me?
yeah, I am here with you. And is there any challenging situation with your child right now that you would like to have some ideas for?
I'm alone. Now I'm alone with him, so maybe with the situation, I uh, mm, maybe I will have to lose contact with you. So sorry about it. But now it's really important to me to learn how to deal with my emotion when he wants to something. It's impossible. For example. Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Judith, for you?
Because of our different situation and that the boys are not my sons, I feel that the connection which I try to build is harder maybe or I don't know, just different, just different. So that's why building the connection is for me very important because I know that the only way, the only thing which will get them to me or take them to me will be that connection which we could build together. And that's why it's important. Of course, there are some situations that I would like to react in different way, of course, like always. But the most important thing is the connection during the time and the ground under the future, the good ground under the future.
Okay, thank you, Judith. And now, Aga, are you with us on the computer? Aga? Hi, Darek, I can see you. Okay, Aga disappeared, but this is why you're... Anyway, let's go. Darek, for you, hello. I don't hear you at all.
Maybe you can write on the chat.
Yeah.
Your line is now
okay.
muted.
We'll go on.
Your
Okay.
line is now unmuted.
Okay. Never mind. This is it. What it's like for today. So about the course, we have these 3 occasions, and today I'll talk about setting limits. And also, first I'll talk about the importance of connection and what happens in the brain of the child when he feels connected, what happens when he does not feel connected, how, the limit setting behavior and this what we call off-track behavior when we need to say no to the child is linked to a disconnection. And also, I'll give you a very specific tool, in fact, 2 very specific tools that you can use to set limit firmly, but with love, and in a way that helps the child to function well afterwards again. And another thing that I hope to do today was to introduce you to another tool that we use among ourselves, parents, and that we use we feel connected and that we do not go off track, but that we can be the parents that we want to be. So it's a tool that supports us in our ability to be loving but firm when needing to set limits with our children. So these are the things for today. Next time, I'll introduce a tool. It's called Special Time. It's really great to build cooperation, and it can also be used great tool of prevention when you see that your child is kind of getting into trouble. You know your child, and you know when he or she is starting to behave like that, trouble is coming. There is a specific tool that you can use then. And also we'll talk about other kind of traditional tools of limit setting and why those do not work in light of very new brain research. And then during the third occasion, we will talk a lot about how to set limits through play, like how to set limits playfully. So these will be the 3 occasions. And now I will start with the very basic parenting by connection. And here is the first chart. I hope you can all see it. Darek, nod. Can you see the chart? The connection is vital. Okay, you have it. Then perhaps Aga too can see it. Yeah, I can see her coming online. So brain research has found that really children have a huge need for function. It is so basic to them as food and drink and being safe and having a home. Without connection, they do not function well. In fact, without connection, their neural pathways do not grow. And why is it so? Why did biology or God built us in this way? It's quite easy to figure out if we think about a baby, a newborn baby. When a baby is born, she has absolutely no power or control over anything. Her complete survival is dependent upon us adults, upon people who can think. So, nature gave us a tool, a radar, which is called our limbic system. We talked about this a lot, Hanka. That is kind of radaring, checking the environment all the time, whether there is anybody available with attention for us so that we survive. So it is so basic to our survival that we have this limbic system constantly checking, reading people's signals, verbal language or non-verbal language, from our facial gestures, our body language, our how we hold our body. Very small babies, newborn babies are reading the signs. Okay, is this person's attention available for me or not? And why they are doing so? Because if a person's attention is available for a baby, that baby can feel safe. And it is only when there is a safe environment that children can grow and learn. If they do not feel safe, then their mind must be occupied by their own survival. So they have no capacity to discover the world, to be absorbed in play and learn through play, because then they have to be alert for themselves. On the contrary, when they feel that there are people to whom they are connected, they feel connected, and who are keeping things safe, then they can work. So in parenting by connection, we have this starting point that connection is vital. And when there is an adult who gives, who turns towards a child with warmth, respect, eye contact, and listening, then the child will be naturally cooperating with that adult and others as well in the environment, will be respectful and will trust that adult. And there is also this finding, there are some other interesting brain research facts that I'll not share now, but if you are interested, I can in another time, that really show that it helps when there is this attunement between an adult and a baby, a young child, or a teenager. There is this attunement, then there is a different activity in the brain, and really neural pathways are forming and learning is taking place then. So I'll now, where is it? When a child is feeling connected, which is this basic, very basic thing for them, then you can expect children to be cooperative, playful, empathic, flexible, and able to learn. Also, when we ask them to do something, they can listen to us, they can listen to it, and they can do it. You know, when they feel connected to us, then if we ask them, please pick up your toy, they'll be happy to do it. No? When they feel connected to us, then when they can see their little sister or brother crying because they too would like to have a toy or a piece of chocolate, they are really happy to share it with them. Also, they can be flexible, you know. When they feel connected to us, then it doesn't matter whether you give them the chocolate milk in the pink mug or in the blue mug. Both of them will be okay. And so this is when they are able to think. And when we feel and when we see behavior is different from this, so when they are not able to cooperate, we ask them to pick up the toy and they don't do it, they cannot do it. When they cannot engage in play, when they cannot share toys and other things with their siblings or their other children, when it's only the pink mug that is good for them, then we know that, okay, there is a problem with the connection that they feel with us. Because when they feel connected, they are naturally good and cooperative. And when we see a different behavior, then we know that there is something wrong. They do not feel connected. And why is it so? There is an explanation to this in our brain. And now I'll go back to another slide. As I said before, there is this part of our brain called the limbic system that is really feeding and dependent on the connection that we parents, adults provide for a child. Limbic system is responsible for, you know, this is the part of the brain that reads nonverbal signals, the home of our emotions, gut responses, and all that. And as we discussed at Hanka's workshop, when there is a problem here, when we don't feel connected, then in fact, there is a part of the brain, the thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, that shuts down. So all that we are able to do when we are able to think, when we are feeling connected, all those things are not available to us when we do not feel connected and we cannot think. So the prefrontal cortex is responsible for such function as attention, paying attention to what mom or dad is saying, reasoning, you know, that the child is able to follow that, sorry, sweetie, we cannot stay here on the playground any longer. We need to go and pick up your brother in the kindergarten, you know. To be able to understand this reasoning, his prefrontal cortex must be functioning well, making good judgments. I don't pull the dog's tail because it hurts. To make this judgment, he needs his thinking abilities. Then impulse control. I'm really angry that that other guy on the playground grabbed the ball from my hand, but I don't hit. To be able to not to hit, his prefrontal cortex needs to be functioning well. And short-term memory for learning. For learning to happen, that is, kind of learning that they do in the kindergarten and later at schools, their prefrontal cortex is needed for that. But as I said before, when the feeling of connection breaks, when the feeling of safety for the child breaks, then this whole part, this thinking follows chart, all those things are not available any longer for him. So if we think that, first thing what we do when a child is going, we call it off track, like when a child is breaking limits or doing nonsense or hitting somebody else, throwing items around, using bad language, teasing a sibling. We call all these things as off-track behaviors. He's not on the right track anymore. All these things, when a child does, we adults, because this is how we were raised, the first thing we do is usually we tell them to stop. And what happens? They don't stop. And very simply, now we can see the reason for that, is that basically the part of their brain hear us asking them to stop is not working anymore. So no use to ask them any of these things, because if they could have stopped, they would have stopped. If they could not tease, if they could not hit, they would be doing it. They are teasing and they are hitting because they cannot do any differently. They are in an emotional state of emergency, needing our help so that we connect with them, so that they can come back to their good self. Okay, I'll stop here for now and I ask you whether you have any questions about this or comment or anything, whether it makes sense to you.
For me, it's clear.
Okay. I can see Darek saying something, but I don't hear him at all.
He just wrote.
It's okay. Great, thank you. Okay, now, so it's in a way, it's good to know that this is what is happening in the child's brain when he's doing off-track things, things that we need to set a limit to, because we immediately have the medicine or the remedy for this. What was it that made the child behave off track at the first place? It was a break in his or her sense of connection. And what will bring him back to his good sense, to his common sense, to his thinking? If he can feel our connection again, and if he can come out of this state of emergency, emotional emergency, and feel safe again. So I'll now the chart that feeling connected is. When connection breaks, here you find this, when connection breaks, then the child feels hurt and there is a broken thinking and child cannot think and there is irrational off-track behavior that is occurring. And here it's important to say that, this happens every day and it's not our fault. life on Earth is just not set up in a way that we feel connected 24 hours all the time. And it's an impossibility. And if we as parents attempt to do it, we just drive ourselves crazy. It's not possible. And fortunately, it is not our job either. No? There are ways that we can give this connection, in very much like we fill the tank of our cars, no? That we go to the petrol station, we give it a good fill, and then our car can run for quite a while. The same is true for our children and their feelings of connection. Do not need to be providing this attention, loving attention all the time for them. It's enough if we set aside time regularly that they tank of connection, they tank of love is filled, and then they'll be able to function. And now a little bit more about why connection breaks and when. For small children, because they are so dependent on us, their sense of connection breaks really easily. No? It can be as little a thing as picking up the phone, running to the stove because you realize that the food is burning. Or you are playing with one child and the other one who had a nap wakes up crying, and you need to go and take care of that child. And the other one will feel immediately, oh, mom was here and not anymore. And there are these hurt feelings immediately. And this is just the way it is. It's not our fault. And it's not a big, and it's important to know that it happens and we have the tools to repair it. So, another thing that I wanted to say is that when connection breaks, there are these hurt feelings that immediately arise. Just imagine the scenario that you are sitting in a cafe with a longtime friend and you haven't seen each other for half a year because you both have kids and, life is too busy. And finally, you negotiate a time and you meet and you are sitting there having a nice chat and you are just sharing something very important about your life. And the phone rings and your friend picks up the phone and says, oh, sorry, I really need to talk to this person. And turns away and is talking for maybe just 2 minutes. You are sitting there, waiting. How do you feel? It's not an easy feeling, huh? It's not something that, oh, okay, no problem. This is what we think, but the feeling that comes with it is really something uneasy. So it's same for the children. When we turn away to pick up the phone, there is an uneasy feeling coming in. Why not me? And if we have to go away for a few days, that feeling is much bigger. It's just not just a little something uneasy, but it can be a huge chunk of, what happened? And especially small children, but we adults often too, we take it personally. We cannot not take it personally. They think that, there is something wrong with me, or it's because of me. So when connection breaks, there are all these bad feelings, these difficult feelings that kind of pile up. And, as these difficult feelings pile up, it begins a loop process because this will be an obstacle in the way of connection. It's again easy to think about it in adult terms. Like if we have a quarrel with our partner and we don't clean it right then and there, then next day it's a more difficult to find attunement with each other. Because there is this quarrel sitting in us emotionally still. So, same thing. When connection breaks, there are these hurt feelings for the children, and they kind of pile up. And so even though we know that, okay, this child is now, I don't know, doing something, for example, my daughter, when she was around 3 years old, whenever she felt disconnected, she drew a crayon, she took a crayon and started drawing on the walls of the house. She knew that, it was not something allowed or welcome. But that was her way of signaling, I'm not well. So, and then I would turn to her and she would be putting her hands behind her back, pretending there is nothing. Well, I knew what was going on. And then I went there and I was like, honey, here I am, okay. Smiling and offering connection. But she wouldn't take it. Why? Because there were these piles of bad feelings in her. And so what needs to happen here so that the child can think again and can feel our love again and can function well again, can feel safe and function well again, is that these bad feelings need to clear out of the way. And here is the important information that I found revolutionary when I first heard it, that really we all have an innate natural healing process to clear these bad feelings away through behaviors that have been for centuries misunderstood by adults. And these natural, very natural healing processes are crying, tantruming, and laughing, and also shaking, trembling, and perspiration are also part of it often. But really, it's through crying and tantruming and laughing that we clear these bad feelings out of the way. So what we can expect when there is a situation that a child is, the child is feeling disconnected and is doing something, I don't know, like drawing on the wall with a crayon, that when we go there and we offer connection, because we know that this is the medicine to help her limbic system feel safe away, and then her good thinking, her prefrontal cortex come back to functioning, is that when we offer this connection, what we get first is not immediately, okay, mom, I put down the crayon and I hug you and I give you a big kiss. Oh, no. First thing, what we often see is a big outburst of emotions. And it's good, This is something that is good that is happening, because these piled up bad feelings at that point are, coming out of her system, are clearing out of her system. So when there is a child doing something and we approach her or him with love, attention, and a genuine interest in them, a genuine interest in connecting with them, very often we will get a big emotional outburst, a big tantrum, big crying or something like that. And all we need to do is just to stay there and listen to it. That's the most helpful thing that we can do. These things at that moment are clearing away, making a free way for our attention to pour in and to kind of rehabilitate her sense of connection and her sense of safety. And this we call stay listening in the parenting by connection approach. And before I take questions and I give you the floor, I'll just say an example of this that happened just this week. I had to go away for a whole day, and my little one Virag stayed with my mother. And in fact, I had to be away for 2 days. We only met one evening, and both days she spent with my mother. And then she came home and looked really ill. And immediately she wanted to breastfeed. So I was like, okay, we haven't been much together for 2 days, and I allowed her to breastfeed. And I was really worried. My mom was sitting here, and oh God, what is this child is not like usual. You know, she's not kind of talkative and happy and playful, but just sitting and just wanting to breastfeed. I was worried, and I allowed her to breastfeed for about 20 minutes, and I said, no more breastfeeding. And then she was kind of wandering around the house and found in our kind of hall, as we entered the house, there is a small room where we put off our shoes and put our clothes. And she went out there, and her bicycle that she can ride outside, she has an indoor bicycle as well, but this is the one she can ride outside, was there. And she knows very well that that's the outside bicycle, and there is the indoor bicycle that she can use in the house. And she just sat on it and wanted to come with that in the house. And I was like, okay, I know what is coming. She was insisting on something that she knew is not allowed because she needed an outburst. And so I said to her, no, honey, if you want to ride the bike, there is the indoor bicycle. And she started crying, like really crying very hard. And she was holding on to her bicycle, and she wanted to drag it to the living room. And all the time I closed the door of this little hall, an entrance room. And I was sitting in front of this door, and I was telling her, honey, if you want to ride a bike, there is the other bike. And I didn't say any more. I was just there with her, listening to this outburst. And she was, trying to attack me. She was trying to push me away from the door. She was trying to get her outdoor bicycle through the door in any way she wanted, where she could. She was just crying and crying and crying. And this went on like for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. A huge emotional outburst after 2 days of really being disconnected with each other. And at the end, she just calmed down and was like more like sobbing. And then she looked at me and said, bike, something bitsik in her language. I asked her, so would you like to take the indoor bike? And she just nodded her little head. And then we went inside the room, and she walked to the indoor, looked at it, and then went off to play with something completely different. So this is how setting limits in by connection is done. I'll talk more about this, but now I'll just ask you whether you have any questions or comments or anything on this.
When I heard you about starting with your daughter, I just think and feel that it could be really hard to stay listening, like you said before, to try to do nothing with children's angry or children's crying, and just be there and just be and listening. For me, it's very hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. With Virag, for me, it's easy because she's more in. But my son is really, he has lots of fear, deep fear, and he becomes really aggressive at this moment, and that's a lot harder for me. And we'll talk about how to help ourselves to be able to stay present. Yeah. And if you don't have any more questions, I just want to stress that, because you are professionals working also with parents, that really there is no fault that we parents did. No, it's not our fault. It's not, we didn't do anything wrong so that our children feel this. It happens, and many times, and we'll talk about that next time, the roots are really somewhere in the very past of all these bad feelings. And it's really important to tell the parents that, they are good and they are doing great efforts. And even when they didn't set limits this way, they were doing the best they could. So this is one thing. And the other one is that when we set limits, we say very little. It's really, and we present the no as a gift, kind of. This is the strategy that, really, like you say, no, honey, not now. No, you can have another ice cream tomorrow. And this is all we say. Very warm-heartedly, and we give time to the situation. Like, we do not hurry the child. We leave the child in charge of this healing process, and we facilitate it. We do something that seems like to my husband, it seems like I am torturing the child. But if you try this approach, you will see that children have a big chunk of and then they don't yet come out of it. Their ability to think and look good in their skin has not yet come back, but they aren't. But they are not crying anymore either. And at that time, what we do is that we repeat the pretext. Let's say in this example with the bike. When Virag was at times just going to the corner and turning to the corner because it was too hard for her. And I would just go a bit closer. Yeah, it's important that we go down to the level of the child. We try to establish eye contact. They don't want to look into our eyes at this point. They cannot connect at this point. It's too difficult for them because if they connect, it brings those hard feelings right up, and it's not easy to be with hard feelings. So it's and this is why it's also important that it's really the child who is in charge of the whole process. We don't force the children to cry. We accept the crying. We know that it's good for them, but we don't force it. It's not our aim that, okay, now you cry it all out from yourself and then life will be good for you. It's not our decision. They bring as much of their pain out of their mind, out of their system, as they choose to. But when we feel that they are stuck somewhere in the process, we can facilitate it very gently. Like, we go closer, we offer touch on their arms, and many times this brings more crying. And it's okay. And or we just repeat. We just repeat that.
Did you see the
Yes? No. I've got how to find a balance in staying listening and to be effective. Yeah, I can see it. Thank you for making it, drawing my attention here. Yeah, when a parent is under stress, it is not possible to do this, and do not attempt it. Okay? Then you go with whatever works at that moment, which is not kind of, hitting your child hard or something. My husband's favorite is, here is a piece of chocolate, okay? And this is the best that he can do, and it's okay, it's okay. At times, we give a piece of chocolate. At times we tell them, look, what about watching a DVD or something like that, you know? Whatever works. When we don't feel that we are able to listen to their hard feelings because we ourselves are so full of stress and difficult feelings, then it will not work anyway. It's absolutely true. So very soon I'll tell you how we can help ourselves to be better prepared to listen to the pain of our children. And I've got how to find balance in stay listening and to be effective. Can you elaborate, Aga? Write something more so I understand better? And maybe meanwhile, if you have any other questions. If no, then I'll stop and say, and I will say, are you holding later? Does it hurt? Okay, you mean physical holding, Darek? If you're not, okay. Holding, okay, this is a tricky one, holding. And Patty, the founder of this whole parenting by connection approach, is going to write a long article about it. And I will send you the article when she's ready with it. She said that by May she will be ready with this article. I don't recommend holding for 2 reasons. It can be very useful, and it's there is a protocol how to kind of experiment with it, like, but it is very, what we call re-stimulating. It can bring up many very difficult feelings for the parents. Most parents cannot feel relaxed, loving, and attuned and peaceful when they are holding a child. They usually feel very tense about it, and then it doesn't work. And also, but there is a protocol that we kind of teach, or it's, for example, what I do with my son when he's very aggressive and I cannot take him to, what I do instead of holding is usually taking the child to a small and safe room where she or he feels safe. You know, it's not kind of a dark room which is scary for the child, not at all. But it's our bedroom where we usually have fun, where we play a lot, but where there are no toys to throw around, and you know, it's safe. And I usually sit in front of the door so the child cannot get out, and I let the room do the holding or something like that. I let the room do the holding, and I protect myself with pillows and blankets and all these things if the child wants to hit. And if this is not possible, like my son is really trying to hit hard my daughter, and they are both there, and I cannot get one of them far away enough from the other, then what I do is that I hold him and I tell him, I just hold you as long as it takes you to be able to not to hit your daughter. So this is what I tell him. But too many words, his system, his thinking is not working. He's not taking these words very much in, but I just tell him, I'll just hold you. And I hold him for a maximum of 20 seconds, and then I let go. And then, of course, immediately he is starting to hit again. And then I just hold him a very short time again. And then I let him go. And then bit by bit, you know, usually by the 5th round of this short but firm holding, he can kind of, he struggled enough and let out enough steam to be able to not hit. But I don't teach this to parents because I think it's too tricky. Does it answer your question? I'm very much waiting for that article from Patty. When my son is, yeah, okay. Aga, I'll tell you later, okay? I'll go on now and then you ask me again and I'll tell you when we finished here, okay? So to sum it up, before we move on to how to help ourselves to be able to do this tail listening and setting limits, is that when we set limits, it's immediately. This I haven't mentioned yet. Usually we try to be kind of the statues of endless patience. You remember in Kirk, patience, and we pretend that it's okay. And we tell them once and twice and 3 times, and 4th time, or for somebody it takes 10, we explode. Okay? No, don't wait for that to explode. Also, because all the time, while you are being patient with the child, his behavior, her behavior is deteriorating. Because your patience is not connection. He's not getting what he really needs. Is this connection and love, loving attention with his feelings. With patience, he's just getting time to feel more miserable. So really, when you see off-track behavior starting, intervene immediately. Even if it's in the morning and you have the toothbrush in your mouth or something, go and intervene immediately. It's we hope that it will change the situation, but usually it doesn't. So do this intervention, and also good for you, because the more you wait, the more angry you become with your child, and the more difficult it is to really be loving with the child. And so say very little, not much thing is needed. Give the charge about the healing process to the child, allow the crying, allow the tantrum, and really believe that, present your no as a gift. Know that it is good for the child to be able to hit this limit and to be able to get rid of all those bad feelings. So this is, and eye contact, offer gentle touch, protect yourself, protect everybody else in the environment. Yeah. And I'll just say one more example where it can lead, because really it has allowing children to release bad feelings has really enormous impact. For example, this is a story of a mother who started to take her daughter, to the kindergarten, and she refused to get out of her lap. She would be just sitting on her lap and she wouldn't go and play with the other children. She wouldn't do anything. And this went on for 3 months. And then she, took this issue to a listening partnership that I'll soon introduce. This is the way we help ourselves as adults. And then she found a way with this, that they went to the kindergarten, and then she made the expectation, it's not really a limit, but she made the expectation that her child sits next to her. Till then it was on her lap, and then she said, look, honey, today you'll sit next to me, all with love and gentleness. And then she took the child and started to take her out of her lap. And of course the child resisted, and she was fighting in fear. She was really afraid of this separation. And the mother kept on this, she wasn't forcing the child on the next seat, on the next chair, but she was just keeping this expectation that she will put her child on the seat, and she was resisting and crying and all that. And then at one point, she could put her on the chair, and she was just crying more and more, and then came back to the mother's lap, and then she let her cry in the lap for another few minutes, and then she said again, you know what, today you will sit next to me. And she again held this expectation. And the child was crying for about half an hour. And then it was okay. And she could just sit next to her. And next day when they went to the kindergarten, the scene repeated, but it was a shorter time. And I think there was another day when she was still crying about having to sit not in the lap of the mother, but next to her. And then third day, the child was sitting first on the mother's lap and then said, Mom, I'd like to go and play with the other children. No? So being allowed to cry about this big fear in 3 days or 4 days completely turned the situation around for that family. The child could feel that, it's safe. It would be fun. Play. Okay. Now, if you have question now, please ask, and then I'll move on to this tool that we help ourselves with. Okay, if no question, then so how can we enable ourselves to be able to stay with the feelings of our children? Well, it's the same thing as for our children. Our limbic system and our brain is not so different from our children's. We have more neural pathways, our prefrontal cortex has more connections and all that. But basically, we are the same. And what happens for us is that when we are stressed, when we feel alone with the situation, like we feel, that it's ourselves alone who has to be dealing with a child who is hitting, or it's us alone who has to be, staying a whole day with a child who is whining all the time or something, then we feel disconnected as well. We don't feel well, and we get into the state of emotional emergency. And we as well have these hurt feelings. And part of it is from the present, and a much larger part of that is usually from our past as children, because, a child whining can be very irritating, because perhaps our parents who didn't take a class like this, this knowledge was not yet around, they did the best they could, but at their time, when a child was whining, it was like, stop whining now, and they had their variation for that. Or when we see that one sibling is hitting the other, in our emotional brain, in our amygdala, all the events get triggered when we were fighting with our sibling, and all the injustice that we feel, we felt at that time about the attitude of our parents also get triggered. So these feelings make us disconnected, and this shuts down our thinking in these situations. So we want to be loving parents, and we are when we have enough sleep, have people to talk to, Do not spend the whole day alone with 1 or 2 or 3 children. When we have good support, we can be the parents that we want to be. But with little support, and with little support of these difficult feelings that are not usually shared and we ashamed about, or that there is something wrong with us and all that, we feel disconnected and we ourselves feel this emotional hijack, and our thinking shuts down. And even though we know techniques, we know tricks, we know ways to handle these situations well, right then and there we are unable to use them because our thinking is just not working anymore. So the strategy for parents to do this is the same as for children, only that we also need to release those hurt feelings, that emotional junk or something like that. We need to cry it out our system, tantrum it our system, laugh it out of our system. Laughing is also a very, very good way to lighten up these difficult things. And we do that, unfortunately, we do that, when we lose our children and we start shouting, we shout for 5 minutes, and then we feel, okay, now I would be able to handle the situation because the steam has come out. Unfortunately, we do harm if we put these children on we put these feelings on our children. So what we do in parenting by connection is that we take responsibility for these feelings in an adult-to-adult relationship. And we share what is called listening time with each other. And here it is, how you can hit, where you can see it. So we engage what is called a listening partnership with another adult. It's an exchange of time. It can be 5 minutes, but it's better if it is at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or even up to an hour. And it's an exchange, so one person first talks for, let's say, 20 minutes and the other one listens. We did this with Hanka as well. And this has very specific rules. But first I'll tell how the whole thing works. So when there is a listener who is respectful towards us, who knows that we are doing every moment the best that we can, who knows that we are good people, and who knows that if we are given the opportunity to release the stress, we will find our solution, and our unique solution that is usually different from anybody else's solution. So, and if this listener has confidence in us, then as we release, as we, tell our thoughts, our feelings, we will feel safe. We will not feel judged. And this will allow us to start expressing our feelings. Just like our children, when we go closer and we offer them a very loving no, then, they feel our love and they can release the feelings. And this is what will start to happen over time. It's a process between two people, this trust to build. But so that person will start to be able to come to the feelings and will start to release the feelings through laughter, through crying, through being angry or something like that. And when that tension is released in this listening partnership, then our mind will start working again with respect to that theme that it was blocked, And we will find an intelligent response. And not only an response, but also we will find new energy. Like when we feel that we are stuck, oh God, this has been going on in this family for a year or for years, And I've done so much, and I don't feel like doing any more minute of anything. When we have these hard feelings, it's very difficult, even if we have the tools, it's very difficult to use it. We don't find the energy, the enthusiasm to use it. But when in a listening partnership, we release these feelings, we can spell them out, blah, get rid of them, then we will find a renewed energy to really act and try out new things. So this is the main point of this listening partnership. And here are some, here it is. Here are some guidelines how it is done. So there is a clock that we set for the agreed time, let's say 20 minutes. And there is one person who is just listening with respect, attention, and warmth as a start. And then later on, there are some techniques that the listener can use to help the person who is talking to get closer to feelings. But that's a while away. If you just listen and don't say a word, that's already very, very good, because your limbic system is there and it is giving the signals that it's okay, it's safe, you are loved, all is taken care of. So already that kind of wave or that thing helps us very much. And if you are the person who is talking, then you just remember that before that, sorry. So and the person who is listening knows that her or his presence is important. Well, you are professionals, so you know that. You know that the other person is smart, that even without your advice, she or he will find out. We do not give any advice, and there is a very strict confidentiality. And it's not just that we don't talk about it to anybody else, but we don't bring up anything that has been said in a listening partnership, even to the person who was talking about it. Never again, not even in another listening partnership, in another listening exchange that we share. And it's important because really imagine that you are talking about like grieving about a grandmother who died, let's say, and then next day you meet in the store and the person is asking about the funeral. Well, perhaps in the store you don't want to be talking about this at all. You don't want to be dealing with the feelings of grief in the store. So this is why there is this strict confidentiality, that it's really buried forever. Nobody brings it up ever again, except the person who was talking about it, when it is her choice to do so. And if you are the person who is talking, then what helps is to breathe, to go slowly, just to go slowly. And if you feel like follow your body sensations is also good, that don't run ahead with the thoughts that you have in your mind, but ask yourself, okay, where is it in my body? And just pay attention to your body and to your feelings. And apart from that, the process will show itself. There is nothing else to do. Okay, do you have any question concerning this? Slides of presentation. Yeah, I can send you the slides of the presentation at the end of the 3 weeks. Okay, Darek. Not now, not yet, but later you will get it. Okay, all of that. Yeah. All right, and then we also share listening time in a group setting, and we call that support group. It's another tool, another adult-to-adult tool that we help ourselves with. And basically, it's the same guidelines for listening, but it's not only between two people, but in a small group of usually maximum 6 people. So everybody can have at least 8 minutes to talk. And the purpose of we call it a support group. And the purpose of this is that listening to each other's inner feelings really builds connection between people. And it is really an antidote, kind of a vaccine against the feelings of isolation that most parents feel. Because the work of parenting is very, very little supported in our societies. And most parents feel isolated and left alone with it. And the support group where parents share in this deep way with each other their struggles and their deep feelings of love and care for their children is a huge support. And we still have some time left, and this is what I would like to start now. Only thing is that either only those people can listen in a support group who also talk. So there are no kind of spectators or audience or something like that. So what I would like us to do now is that we share 4 minutes of listening time in this way, but only those who can also talk. So I don't know if Darek and Aga, you can work out how you can talk, then you are really welcome to stay. But if not, then I ask to step out of this part of the course, and I will email you when you can come back in for the closing circle or something like that. I'm sorry for this, but it's just not. You understand it anyway, I think, this guideline. That okay? Aga, Darek, is that okay? Yeah, okay. But I'll just tell you, maybe an idea is that if you could talk on Skype now, yeah, you can call in. Only that other ones, I'm just reading Aga's thing, that can I call in? The thing is that I don't have everybody's contact on Skype, so that we could do it on, yeah. Aga, I'm not on the, yeah. Sorry, you did that? And
I don't understand what we are doing right now.
Okay, I'm organizing. I am organizing this support group, and I'll propose a question to everybody to talk about, and you can talk about that or not. But the guideline for this support group is that those who participate should be both listeners and talk. And now, because of the technical problems, Darek and Aga are not able to talk, they are only able to listen. And it's not very good this way. Or we can agree that we are okay if they just listen. But then I need...
I suppose
you are okay with that.
Yeah, I suppose it will be much more trouble to get them out and to hear again. So we just. I suppose.
Okay. What about you, Maria?
I'm along with my son. It's hard to me now.
Hello? Yeah, there is some noise from somebody. I think from there is the noise. I don't hear. Oh.
Your line is now muted.
Okay. Yeah, there is somebody's computer or something making lots of noise.
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't know who's that.
Yeah, me neither. On my computer, it's yeah, Darek.
Oh,
it might have been Darek. Yeah,
Your
now
line
it's
is
better.
now
Yeah, it was
unmuted.
something on Darek's computer. Okay, if I like sticking to guidelines because it always turns out that it is with a reason. But if you are in it to make this experiment that we do this support group with people who are just listening, I am fine and will learn from it. Is that okay with you, Judita?
yeah, it is okay for me.
Okay. And Maria, you cannot talk or?
I have some trouble with my son because he's sleepy and hungry.
Okay, yeah. You know, if you need to go, you go. Okay, it's not a problem. Just say. Then I'll go with that. That now you know about it, and next time, now I ask you that all of you send me their nickname on Skype, and for the support group, I'll call the whole group on Skype, and then everybody can talk on Skype. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Then before we, yes? Did you want to ask something, Judith?
No, I just see the Aga's question. When?
When? It's next time, next Thursday evening. We'll do the support group. Next Thursday evening, we will do it. Okay. Yeah. And then for now we will close. But before that, you get a homework. Okay. And the homework is to set limits in the coming week this way that we discussed, that you give the gift of no and you listen and you stay there and listen what comes up for the child. And please write down your experiences. I will send you some questions, some guiding questions, along which you can take notes and kind of record what happened. Okay?
Okay.
And this works with young children, and it works with teenagers as well, and it even works with adults. Although that's the most tricky to set limits with adults, I find, but okay. So try it at least twice. And then now, before we say goodbye, now it's only you, Judith, whom I can hear. But Darek and Aga, please, you will type your answers to this question. Okay? Is that how was this for you now? And what did you learn today?
It was hard workshop because we have our room near the wall, and I still heard our boys which are in bath, and I should go there and set some limits. But what I learned today is that staying and listening is really hard for me. I'm the kind of person who will want to react somehow. So like I guess just right, it's really challenging for me for just stay and listening and do nothing. I know that staying listening is doing something, but for me there is no action, so it's doing nothing.
It's good to talk about these thoughts in this support group. Okay, Judith, next time, and see whether you get from A to B.
Okay.
Thank you. And I read Aga's feedback. Okay, so Aga wrote that she's hungry for more tips on how to cope with own emotions, and Darek wrote that he likes the idea of breaking time to connect with himself. Okay, yeah. Then we'll try that next time. Okay. And thank you very much for your patience with all this technology around it and the difficulty. And please, Darek and Aga, try to see whether you could figure out how to make the microphones work. Because this could be quite neat, this any meeting. No? I find it could help. And also, I'll send you the questions for the homework and this invitation that we all join over Skype, so we can have that support group over Skype if this does not work.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, and good night to all of you. Okay. And for me, yeah, I didn't say how it was for me. Oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but it feels good because I know you. So I feel safe to be a little bit stupid, something like that.
Something like
Thank you. I'll switch on the camera so we can. Hello. Hi. 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 Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so take care.
Hi. Then next Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Your line is now muted. Muted.